Tiny kangaroo down, sport, tiny kangaroo down. G'day cobbers, it's your old mate Ferg here, coming to you from Perth, Western Australia, the most isolated capital city in the world. And today I was going to chat about my chapter in this incredible little book here about infamous Aussie entertainer turned criminal, unfortunately, Rolf Harris. Now, where I am right now is in the very old town of Bassendean. Maybe over there you can see that this is called the Old Perth Road. I asked the GPS to take me to, and there's a library over there, take me to the town council building, which is just over there. But unfortunately, as you can probably hear, there's a bloody great council truck out the front making a hell of a racket. So I'll have to come up here in the shade a bit and just do this from here. Now, Rolf Harris was the most famous son of this old town of Bassendean. As I said, it's as old as Perth itself. Founded in around 1829 when Perth was founded. It was on the railway line. It still is, amazingly. And Rolf was known as the boy from Bassendean. Now I know a lot of young people have probably never heard of Rolf Harris, but just keeping my voice down because a few local denizens going by there. And Rolf is persona non grata in this place, unfortunately. He was known as the boy from Bassendean. He was, I know a lot of young people wouldn't have heard of him, but he's dead now. He was a children's entertainer, quite a famous artist, a musician. I mean, this guy was one of Perth's favourite sons until, unfortunately, in 2014 he got Jimmy Savilled, and it came out that Rolf was a bit touchy-feely with the underage girls, and his reputation went down the toilet from there. But so before that, I mean, this guy was mega famous, and I know Perth is desperately trying to hang on to any inkling or modicum of fame to become relevant, but you know, Rolf had three great hit singles across the globe. There was Tiny Kangaroo Down, Sport, which I traumatised you with a few bars on at the opening here, Two Little Boys, and Jake the Peg, and those songs might resonate with some of you. He was also you know, quite a well-known artist. He was actually commissioned to paint a portrait of the Queen in 2005. That's how well regarded dear old Rolf was, before it all went down the gurgler, as it were. So it was mostly as like a kid's entertainer that Rolf was known. In my lifetime, he was always like ubiquitous, like in the background there. He was that dark curly haired bloke with the black National Health specs that was always laughing and chatting away. He had a very chatty sort of style of dialogue, like Rolf could paint and chat and entertain at the same time, and that made him very popular amongst the younger set. And he, over the years, like he had a number of children's programs. He did move to England in about 1960 and got himself into television there, and did a number of kids programs. The one I remember most is Rolf on Saturday OK from the early 80s, and was always on in the background whenever I wandered into the lounge room and my little sister would be watching it. Rolf was so ubiquitous that the Goodies, you remember the Goodies comedy show, they did a whole episode based about a plague of Rolf Harris's. Rolf was everywhere back in the day. But unfortunately, yeah, as often happened with these celebs from the 60s and 70s, he was called out, and it wasn't until Rolf was say 84 years old when the allegations came out, and unfortunately they proved to be true, that he'd been a bit hands-on with a few kids, and he was jailed in his 80s. He's passed on since I penned my chapter on Rolf, and he actually died earlier this year in May at the age of 93. He was in prison for 2 or 3 years, poor old sod, in his late 80s, and his all of the honours that were bestowed upon him. I mean, like MBEs, OBEs, CBEs, they were all rescinded, and even here in Bassendean, like, he had plaques, so I could have gone to the council house. There was a plaque of Rolf. They took it down. There were memorials of Rolf and his artworks were hung up, and it's all been taken away now, and this town here where he was so beloved just no longer wants to know him. It's sad, really. What else can we say about Rolf? So he was born in 1930, and as a young man, I mean, there was no inclination of the path he would eventually go down, and all we know of his youth is that he was very good at art. He studied art at college, university here in Perth. So he moved to London, achieved a modicum of fame, moved into the music world. I mean, he was associated with George Martin, the guy who looked after the Beatles at one stage, and he hosted a show about the Beatles. Well, I can see I've actually been talking for over 6 minutes here about Rolf, and I've covered most of his life. I mean, my personal memory of Rolf was when he finally returned to Perth in 1979, and there was a huge concert on the Esplanade in the city, which is a great big grassed area that's mostly still there. And Rolf penned a song called I Want to Come Back to WA. And I remember the lyrics because they played this thing on the radio every 5 bloody minutes. And 1979, even 16-year-old me, as ignorant as I was, like, got the impression that, hey Rolf, like, you buggered off to London in about 1960 and we haven't seen you since, so this songs are like a little bit hypocritical, mate. Like, you miss He talked about Bassendean in the song, not by name, but the old town that I was born in. But what's interesting is that as time passed and the allegations and the convictions came out, and Rolf didn't show any contrition, unfortunately. When he was put away, he wrote a nasty song about his accusers and detractors, and as happens with these things, once one allegation came out, they all came out, you know, as it happens. And unfortunately, as far as the legal process is concerned, it was all true. And it's just, look, mostly it's like a feeling, you get a feeling of sadness, like someone who was so beloved in this place, so loved, was just buried and forgotten, and all of his mementos were taken away. And to finish up, I'll just say that song that he penned for us in 1979, I Want to Go Back to WA, I've searched the internet, I've searched YouTube, you cannot find any record of it. You can't see the lyrics. I don't know if you can buy it anywhere. Like, man, this guy just got buried in it. And you know, he passed away in May this year, and the funeral had to be kept quiet. I believe he was cremated. There's no way he was repatriated and came back here. He stayed a recluse in his Berkshire mansion in England, and that's where his remains are interred. And unfortunately, that's the sad story of Rolf Harris for you.